Amex, Visa, MasterCard, you're probably sitting there thinking like, yeah, I've already heard of all these companies. These facts that you're telling me are very interesting, but like, what are the opportunities here, right? Like, are there any opportunities for disruption? What are the competitive advantages of each relative company? That's probably, I hope, what you're thinking, because that's what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, and let's and just to kind of tee up this conversation, let me put all this in perspective. So Visa, okay, their operating margin, which is basically their revenue minus all their operating expenses, is 65%. Okay. Now, when you think about like in your head, like, well, what is 65? Is that great? Is that bad? Well, then if you think about like, well, let's compare it to another company that probably has really, really amazing margins. Let's compare it to Google. Google's operating margin is 27%. Okay. So again, Visa's operating margin is 65%. Google, which according to Charlie Munger probably has the greatest, competitive moat of any company of all time, their operating margin is 27%. So this just goes to show how powerful of a position these three companies, Visa, American Express, and MasterCard, have in that market.
Yeah, and it's easy for them. I mean, one, they have like this huge amount of market share too, but it's also easy for them to have such a large operating margin because it's not like it's a high cost for them to provide these services. Like once you have the infrastructure in place, they can make bank, which is what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's right. And a really good lesson here is that, it's almost like a software company, right? I mean, once you've made the software, and in Visa's case, once you've established that infrastructure, then it's just a matter of scaling, right? So if you can scale it up to $1 trillion worth of payments as opposed to 100 billion or 4.7 trillion, I mean, you're just going to make a lot more money, but your expenses aren't going to ratchet up very quickly at all.
Right. They're not gonna rise at the same rate as the amount of money that you're bringing in, which is huge for Visa. And this is actually one of the competitive advantages, right, that Visa and Amex and MasterCard do have, is that they do have these established infrastructure networks.
Right. I mean, when you think about competitive advantage, the network effect is the one that really comes to mind with these companies, right? Because they already have all these merchants tied into it. They already have the big banks tied into it. So they have those relationships and those networks that just make it easy because, what Visa, really does is it provides clearing and settlement services, right? And that requires people on both sides of the transaction to trust to trust the person that's providing that service. And Visa has established that. And so that network effect is clearly very, very powerful when you consider how wide that margin is, and thus how seemingly prone to disruption this industry is, but yet this fact that it's still not been disrupted.
Right.